pick up state bars to show that you've actually been in those states. I'm fairly new at this, at the walking side of it. I've only been in 2 of the states. My work, unfortunately, doesn't always allow me to get that much time off to travel to the East Coast and pick up some of those events. So, just kind of getting started on the state bars.
Let me take a look at the things in your cap, can we?
Right.
Now,
take a look here at the cap.
these are the cap pieces.
Okay. This is the national convention here.
Okay.
And this is an achievement award from doing so many events. You get an achievement award.
That's an international
award there. This is part of loop year down here. This was osteoporosis walk that we did.
That was
here
called
in Portland. The Positive Steps.
Positive Steps.
Then over here was Astoria.
And there's the Astoria column.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see, is that a pair of shoes?
Right, that's just walking in the United States.
Okay.
This is an event.
Bicycler's International emblem.
Mm-hmm.
Now what's this one here?
This is over at Lapine. This is over near Polina Lake.
I see a chef barbecuing something. That's a real nice piece of jewelry.
Right.
Very cool.
There's our national flag over there.
Oh, I know that.
Oh, you know who he is. Yeah,
there's the blue heron, the city's
the city bird.
The city bird, official bird of Portland.
It's been a very long day. You know, we start when you start an event like this, you're up at 4:30 in the morning so that you can be here at 6 to prepare for the people, the participants who get here by 8. We've had a very good turnout. This morning, the first hour, we had 300 people through the registration line. By the second hour, we had over 500 people. By 1 o'clock, we had very close to 1,000 people, and we right now at 2 o'clock in the afternoon have about 100 people left on our trails. A year ago at this time, we thought we were having a huge event when we would have 300 people. Now, this year, our top event had 2,000 people. So as you can see, we've really grown in the past year. Germany last year, where Volksporting first started, they had 14 million people participate in Volksports. Here in the United States, we're very new to Volksporting, but already we have 5 million people across the U.S. that are involved in Volksporting. I believe that this is probably one of the most exciting and probably one of the larger events of the year. I think one of the reasons that this is one of the most exciting events is that here we are in a part of Portland that most people don't even know exists. People were able to walk on the Columbia, on the Willamette, on the Slough, and through Kelly Point Park, besides information booth and walk at the Port of Portland and walking through the Port of Portland. I think everyone really enjoyed the experience of the day.
Approximately how many clubs are there here in Oregon now with you? Yes.
Right now in Oregon there are 30 clubs that have been chartered. Now there are several more that are in the process of being chartered. The chartering procedure really isn't that big of a deal. They basically have to get a group of people together, name officers, and send the application in. It's still pretty much wide open as long as people will abide by the rule book. The international president, when he was out here for the convention, said that the primary objective of Volksporting was to have fun, fun, fun. And I think that's pretty much what most Volksporters think it's all about too. So you just got enough rules to make sure that they can abide by things that make the insurance companies happy. People don't get hurt in Volksports, but just in case they ever did, you have to have insurance. So we have just enough rules to keep those people happy, and that's about all the rules we have. One of the things that, one of the reasons why people do Volksporting is we like to say they do it just for the health of it. Once you get out and walk, it's kind of an addictive sort of thing. You can't do just one. Once you've done it, you find it so much fun that you want to do another one. And people will get out and meet a lot of very, very interesting people that like to walk all the time. You make a lot of friends on these things. And I've heard the teenagers say it's a good way to meet other friends of the opposite sex that way. So there's a lot of different appeals to that. But we have people going out and walking that are, preschoolers. And of course, they come out with a family. And we have people, though, that are retired that come out and do it because they say, well, my doctor told me I had to get a lot of exercise. And it's hard to get exercise, and I don't like to jog. You know, I'm a memory jogger. I remember running. But what they really want to do is to get that low impact type aerobic, something that doesn't hurt the knees and doesn't do nasty things to their ankles. And so they can do this and do it as a group. And when you do it as a group, it's a lot more fun. People bring out their cameras or they bring out lunches, and see, it's real loose on Volkswagen. You can start anywhere from 8 o'clock in the morning normally till, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon just to get started. And you got between 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon to finish. And we have people that go out and they will actually stop and shop along the way. They'll stop and have their lunch. People just make a whole day of it sometimes.
Nobody's racing a clock.
No. Now we do have some people that I see out there that actually they've got every walk they've ever done. They've marked their starting time and their stop time, and they will race walk these, or they will run them. Or I saw a guy on roller skates one time, and he was going along as a rabbit because the other guy was trying to run to keep up with him. So you do get some of these people that really get into the timing things, but most people are out there just to see some interesting things.
They're like any of the runners. They're walking to better their own
That's exactly what they're doing. They're walking to better their own time, and a lot of the people are, I say, trying to either better their time or to see some scenery that they don't get when they're driving. So you drive through an area, you see everything at about 25 miles an hour around the city. You know, when you walk through the area, you get to see a lot of things that you don't get to see when you drive through an area. You know, you drive through this neighborhood out here at 25 miles an hour, and you're going to see a lot of nice color and everything, pretty trees, some nice houses, but you're through it in 30 seconds. When you walk it, you take a lot longer. You notice the architecture on the houses. You notice the work that people do in their yards. And, I'm getting ready to do some remodeling. And one of the things that I do is I go down and I keep taking notes. Hey, I like that. I like this particular thing over there, or I wish I had time to do that to my yard. You lay a lot of guilt trips on yourself when you see people out working in your yard because you know you should really be doing that at home, but after all, you got to do something to get your body back in shape from that week in the office.
Are there people, you talk about people of different ages, are there different types of occupations, of people who do work outdoors that come along too?
We get people from actually all kinds of occupations and from just all over the country that come into this. We get people that are basically farmers, we get people that are office workers, we get people that are real sports nuts, and they all seem to get along real well because they're all out there have fun, meet other people, enjoy the scenery, and just do a nice, healthy activity. You'll see events where you'll get maybe 2,000 people at an event, but you don't have the thing that you run into when you're having something like the Cascade Runoff, which is a very fine event, but everybody's so close to everybody else. In Volkswagen, where we have the very long start time and the long finish time, you don't really have a whole herd of people going along as a group. You've got people strung out and quite a ways apart. So you don't get the feeling of a crowd. That's kind of a nice touch.
Much of the territory covered in today's Slough Stroll is over an undeveloped part of Portland's 40-mile loop trail, which today is now actually 140 miles in length. Volks marchers got a first-hand look at Kelly Point and the Columbia Slough, seeing for themselves just how much more work will be necessary to clean up this treasured waterway. Starting at 8 in the morning, over 1,100 people of all ages were able to walk at their own pace throughout the day, catching glimpses of kingfishers, great blue heron, beaver, and nutria in their natural habitat around Smith and Bybee Lakes and the Slough. The trek included paths through wooded areas, meadows, and several stretches along the water's edge. The Volksmarch planners had purposely selected the trails that would give the walkers a variety of terrains and a variety of Columbia River wetlands and Cascade Mountain scenery to make it a much more enjoyable day. Several agencies and organizations from the community came together to help the sponsoring Volkssports Club on this particular event to help stage a leisurely day in one of Portland's least known natural areas. These included a volunteer unit of engineers from the Oregon National Guard who helped clear the trail and even build stairs over the few obstacles. A special Bull Run water wagon for thirsty finishers furnished by the Portland Water Bureau. Another oasis offering information and water provided by the Port of Portland at the first of 2 checkpoints. And a very special opportunity to meet the Oregon Audubon Society's celebrated urban naturalist, Mike Houck. Walkers shared the trails with a variety of local outdoors enthusiasts, even City Commissioner Bob Koch, who was instrumental in helping arrange this event as one more part of a series of public tours and a canoe regatta scheduled to give Portland area residents a greater awareness of this wetlands area and of the efforts by North Peninsula residents over the years to preserve it for posterity. For many who came from other parts of the metropolitan area, the quiet trails and secluded shores near the mouth of the Columbia Slough came as a happy surprise. A peaceful, natural setting within sight of the busy North Portland harbor terminals at Rivergate that have been shared for decades only by adventurous fishermen and bird watchers. For others, the highlight was standing on the river shores as ocean-going freighters, river tugs with barges, and a pleasure craft cruised past, seemingly within touching distance. This entire area, the location of one of the explorers Lewis and Clark's encampments while en route to Astoria 180 years ago, was for centuries a favored hunting and fishing area for Northwest Indian tribes, and providing the fortunate visitors with a brief encounter with history and a taste of what our modern city may have looked like in days long ago. Today, entirely surrounded by a marine industrial park, it is beginning to be respected by more and more Oregonians as the sort of special regional recreational resource that few American cities can offer. Volksmarkers at the end of their hike through the North Peninsula were enthused by the prospects for these wetlands as they handed in their march logs, collected their badges for the event, and purchased colorful T-shirts and other souvenirs to commemorate this day. For everyone, however, the sharing of these sights and discoveries and the camaraderie of the march was reason enough to be there. One more day of healthful exercise and relaxation.
What haven't we covered so far, Mark?
Well, let's see. We had there's a lot of interesting sides to Volkssporting. The clubs themselves were set up to promote health and just enjoyment and getting people together. But some of these have been able to turn a small profit from the walk and been able to turn that around and pour that back into the communities, back into some of the projects.
That's from like the sale
some of the
badges
charities,
and
some of the badges and such. There's a very small profit margin in those badges, very, very small. This is one of the things that's supposed to be non-profit, and we try to keep it that way. But like this this one here that you talked about for Positive Steps, that was for osteoporosis. And we were able to have a man come out and lecture on osteoporosis with people that were there. We were able to handle a lot of nutritional literature, and there was a small profit turned from that, which was turned back into the Osteoporosis Foundation. So it's kind of good to be able to see things like that come out of it, even though the primary objective is just to get out and enjoy the scenery and to get some fresh air.
What might we see with Volkssporting in the future?
I think in the future what you're going to see is a lot more clubs in the eastern part of the state and quite a few more in the southern part of the state. So you're going to have more people be able to participate. One of the newest things happening in Volkssport right now is that they've added a brand new sport, boating. Now that's going to be big here in Oregon. Now we're talking about big boats, you know, canoes, kayaks, rowboats, you know, one-man type boat. So this is going to be a lot of fun doing that. Up in Canada, they've been trialing snowshoeing, and they've even tried one of those events up in Washington. It worked very, very well. But lot of people don't have snowshoes, so we'll probably see a lot more boating than we will snowshoeing here in Oregon.
How about Nordic skiing? Is that done anywhere?
Nordic skiing is being used up at Mount Hood in the 10-kilometer cross-country skis, and they're also doing some of that up at Snoqualmie Pass up in Washington. We're going to see a lot more of that here in Oregon.
How many people turn out for a skiing event?
Right now, the number of people that turn out for a skiing event is more like maybe 200 people to 300 people, as opposed to 500 to 1,000 that would turn out for a walking event. More like the number that you would have for a swim. So we hope to get that more popular, though, because we've got some beautiful, beautiful trails, not only up at Mount Hood, but also Mount Bachelor's got some of the greatest trails anywhere in the country for cross-country skiing, so we hope to see a lot there.
The sport doesn't take anything more than a good pair of shoes and an inclination to go out. It doesn't cost a lot to buy a souvenir badge or a button.
No.
How come it can be so popular when it's not the least bit commercial?
Well, I think that's the great part of it, is because it isn't horribly commercial. That's why it is so popular. People get tired of things that have got an awful lot of hype in them. They like to do things that are good for themselves. And one of the things also happening is the Physical Fitness Month in May. You missed Physical Fitness Month? Okay, well, you have a chance next year to get involved in that, because every May the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports gets involved with the American Volkssport Association, and they sponsor events all over the country. Now, we were lucky to have a couple of those events here in Oregon this past year, and you could actually win your physical fitness badge from the President's Council just for going on that 10-kilometer walk.
In Oregon?
In Oregon.
Nationally, how many people would you guess are involved at the last numbers that you heard?
Well, nationally, there are 550 clubs. And the statistics that I saw for the first 6 months of this year, I think we've already passed the number that we had walk last year in the entire country. And we have around 500,000 people that take part in the events every year. Every year it's growing quite a bit. The number of clubs from last year to this year, and you can equate that off into the number of events and also a like number of participants, is about 20% growth over last year. That's just phenomenal to see that kind of growth. But the reason it's becoming so popular is because more people are finding out about it. It's one of those real well-kept secrets for a while, but now that people are finding out about it, they come out of curiosity and then they get hooked into it.
Tell me, Marv, here in Oregon, if somebody wanted to find out about